everyone, it's Sean from What Up, and welcome back to another video. The other day we had a ton of Wheel of Time content drop. We had a Comic-Con panel that I displayed here on the channel. We had a Q&A by Rafe and Daniel Henney at the panel, as well as a Q&A by Rafe on Twitter, which I'm going to cover at some point in a video in the next couple of days because there's a lot of really great information in there in Season 2. But we also got a behind-the-scenes look at Season 2, and it's really, really cool. So I'm going to show that video here on the channel, and then after that we're going to discuss some of the shots in the teaser that are really giving us a ton of information about Season 2, and in some cases they're basically giving us more questions than answers. So if you're new to the channel, you don't know what we do here, we cover Wheel of Time show news, so anything and everything to do with the Wheel of Time, that's what we talk about here. If you like that sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell, because I'm putting out Wheel of Time content each and every week, and it's always based around the show, or the book series, I guess, as well. But if you want news, if you want information about the show, you're going to want to subscribe to the channel. Now, before we get into the actual teaser and my speculation on some of the shots in it, I have to give a spoiler warning. Now, unfortunately, the spoiler warning is going to go the full 14 books. So if you haven't read the Wheel of Time series, I'm going to ruin a lot of it for you. So, spoiler warning, in this video, we're talking about certain elements of the Season 2 behind-the-scenes teaser, and it gives us a lot of information. So if you haven't watched the first season of the Wheel of Time show, that's on Amazon Prime, that's episodes 1 through 8, or read all 14 books of Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson's The Wheel of Time series, that's The Eye of the World, right through A Memory of Light. Be forewarned, I'm going to ruin major plot points and character arcs from pretty much everything. Alright, that being said, let's get on to that teaser. What a teaser. Absolutely amazing. I don't know what to say other than that, but there's a ton there. There's a lot to unpack here. We're going to try to answer some of the questions we have about this teaser today, but I guarantee you're going to be left with more questions when we finish the video, because although I can answer some of them, or at least speculate in some of them, there's a whole lot of stuff here that I'm scratching my head at too, and I'm sure you folks are. So, if I missed some things, let me know in the comments down below if there are things in the teaser that I should have talked about that I didn't today, or that make, some more sense, or if you think I'm flat out wrong on something, please in the comments down below, let me know. I'll probably make a second video on this in the coming weeks after everyone's theories all come out and we can read them all and we can kind of figure out as a community what's going on. Now, Rafe Judkins has told us that there's going to be 8 episodes in the second season, just like there was in the first, but the run times will be longer, which is great because a lot of people's complaints about the first season, mine included, was the fact that there was not enough time on screen. There was a lot of editing. Things get edited out that should have been, on screen that explain things to fans. There's some pacing issues because of the editing, and generally more time would have been better. So I'm kind of hoping that gets fixed for Season 2. Also, when we see a teaser like this, generally you're only seeing things from the first couple of episodes because usually they hold things close to the vest and they don't want you to see things from later on in the season. That's not the case here. So we can see with this first shot, this one comes from episode 7. So we know for sure that there are shots in this teaser all the way up to at least episode 7. And I think there's some from episode 8 as well, and we'll talk about that as we go along. Now, this first particular shot here shows Aula Smart, who plays Aviendha, in the background, and she's talking to 2 Maidens of the Spear in front of her. Now, when you talk about 2 Maidens of the Spear together, especially in the first few books of the Wheel of Time, you have to think Bane and Chiad. I mean, that's who I think these 2 people are. They could be anyone, but my gut tells me it's probably Bane and Chiad because there are only a few notable maidens in the books that show up again and again and again, and these are the ones we're probably going to be introduced to and spend time with on screen because there are just too many characters to cast them all. So we're probably getting Bane and Chiad, we're probably getting Sulin, maybe a couple of others, but not many. But if I had to guess, I would say this is Bane and Chiad. Now, I want you to pay attention to Aviendha's right leg. She's bleeding. She's covered in bandages. She's injured. I think she got her injuries here. Now, we do know from Want series that there was some casting videos kind of released, where people were reading for roles. They were trying out for them that involved Aviendha and Perrin. Now, from these casting readings that we had transcripts of, it sort of seemed like Aviendha was taking the place of another Aiel that Perrin meets in the books and rescues and helps out. So I'm kind of thinking that this particular scene might be the scene where Aviendha has been captured, Perrin helps rescue her, they fight a bunch of White Cloaks, they kill them, and that sort of sets their hatred up for Perrin. Now, you'll notice this particular White Cloak here has an axe, and I think he shows up later on in the teaser, and we'll talk about him in just a bit. And this might be where we see Perrin get his axe. We haven't really seen that iconic big half-moon or giant axe that he's had. We've seen more the little ones in the first season, the woodcutter's axe he had at the very first. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe this particular weapon on screen right here is Perrin's axe. Let me get into these shots here. It shows Moiraine and Lan together on a beach. And I think, if I had to guess, I'd say these shots are probably in the later part of the season, because we know they're alone for parts of the season, probably near the first and probably near the end. But they do link up with Rand and some other people in the middle. And speaking of where they link up with people, I think this particular scene is from a certain farmhouse, but I think some of the characters maybe have changed. I think that we're going to see Moiraine and Lan on an adventure on their own in the second season to try to figure out what's going on with Moiraine, why she can no longer channel. Now, it's been hinted at that she's been still, but I don't believe she is, and I don't think many people in the fandom do. She probably has a shield tied off on her, and we've proved that over and over and over again in videos where we looked at Shamael's hand movements and all kinds of other stuff that's happened in the first season. But I think that she's going to go see Varen Sedai, and that's how we're going to get introduced to her. And she's going to be asking her some questions and trying to figure out how to get rid of this shield so she can channel again. And you do know that she didn't go see Varen in the Great Hunt, so that wasn't, or in the book series, she went to go see a couple of other old Aes Sedai, and Lan kind of rekindled the fires in their warders' hearts and made them practice a little bit when he was with them. So I'm thinking that maybe this scene here is not just Lan, but maybe just off to the right or to the left, out of camera of this shot, we see Varen's warder practicing with them. That's just a guess, but I'm thinking that's what this is, and I can't wait to see that. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. There has been some theories that this is where he's practicing the sword with Rand, because we now know that he will at the very least train Rand a little bit in the second season. So that's a possibility too, but I'd like to think that this is more Varen Sedai's warder practicing with him, rekindling the fires of being a warder and not just a librarian. All right, so we have these shots here. This particular shot comes from a leaked video. So it's from the teaser, but this video was leaked on Instagram a very long time ago. I talked about it on the channel quite a bit. It's a bunch of White Cloaks charging towards a fortress. They go into the fortress. They fight some Seanchan inside. Really neat shot here. But I want you to pay attention to the man in the lower right by the camel, standing near the camel. Now, there's been some speculation that he is showing up in the next image I'm going to show you. I don't think that's the case. I think it's someone else. However, that gentleman there, a lot of people think is this person in this shot right here. Now, whether this particular person is the same one as in this shot, that's up for debate, but there's some things we know about this. Now, Rafe Judkins has said on Twitter that no one guessed this person's character during the Q&A he did on Twitter. At least he, about halfway through the Q&A, a couple hours in, he said no one's guessed the character yet when everyone was throwing ideas at him. And I had my thoughts on who this could be. I jokingly said it might be Asmodean, it might be Taim, it might be a number of other people, but I really don't think that's who it is. I think that we're seeing here one of two people. Now, in the background there, in the shot, you see what appears to be a rising sun above the doorway. So I think this is Kyrian. Not 100% on that, but I think it is. And that puts me in the mind of one of two people. This is either Laman. We're seeing a flashback, maybe a cold open even, where we see Laman's sin, where he cuts down the tree of life to make a throne. Not so great, huh? He cuts down the Chora tree to make a throne, basically to prove a point to his political enemies. But this could be Laman. We could be seeing him in the gardens here after ordering the tree cutting down, kind of walking away. Or this could be Desryan Damodred, well, pardon the pronunciation, it's been a long day, Moiraine's father. Because we do know that when Moiraine was tested in flashbacks in New Spring, that she did get taunted by Elias Sedai during her her raising to the shawl like during her testing, by flashbacks of her father begging for help. So this might also be him, and the only reason I'm thinking that is because his hairstyle seems to be awfully familiar, and it looks an awful lot like Moiraine's hairstyle in the show. Spitballing here, but I think it's either Moiraine's father or Laman here. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the description or in the comment section. Who do you think it is? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Now, a lot of people are saying this is Elias. I don't believe it is. I think we're going to see Elias here in the next couple shots. It's not the same hairstyle at all, but who could it be? No idea. All right, now we're going to talk just a bit about this here. This wheel, if we're talking Laman, I think has a little bit to do with him. It's possible. I'm spitballing here. This looks like a torture device where someone's kind of tied up and made to face transgressions, or we have no idea what it is really, but there's restraints on it. So there's that. I'm thinking that the first shot we've seen, we're going to go back here. He's by a camel. He's in the desert. We know that Cairhien is kind of, around the desert and the waste and stuff, and the Aiel are going to get Laman. We have Laman in his gardens, I think. And then we have this wheel also in the desert. Maybe, just maybe, he's taken, and this is how he's punished for his crimes and then executed this way. It's possible, it's theatric, it's not something the Aiel will do in the books by any way, shape, or form, I don't believe. However, it would look really good on screen, it would be thematic, it would look amazing. It's quite possible that this was for, or I could be completely wrong and in left field. Let me know your thoughts on this wheel. We've already discussed it a bunch, but I've never really put Laman and the wheel together in the same sentence, and I think now that I've seen the pictures and the teaser a few times, I'm kind of wondering if maybe there's something there. All right, so do you remember earlier when we had the White Cloak fighting the Aviendha? I think this is the same White Cloak. It's possible. I mean, the hair looks maybe a few shades darker in that other image, but it was at night, so it's possible. But we see what appears to be the same axe in the back. A lot of people, for whatever reason, are mistaking this particular character online as an Aiel. So there's a lot of Reddit threads about it. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook and different things like that, where they're talking like this is an Aiel. It is 100% not an Aiel. You can see the sunburst on the chest there, and you can see the White Cloak sort of armor that he has on his arm, and it's, I'm not going to lie to you, the costumes look way better for the White Cloaks in the second season. Maybe this is just their campaign costumes rather than their dress ones they had in the first season. But I'm thinking if this particular person is the one in the first shot, it's either Jared Beyer, maybe Boris himself. Who knows? It's definitely a notable White Cloak. I think if they're showing him like this and he has the axe and he's fighting Aviendha, and I think this one will take his hatred of Perrin and move forward. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if it'll be the exact same as the books or not, but I think it'll be pretty close. And we have this. I don't know if you folks have been around the channel long enough, for those of you who watched a lot of my videos, but we talked about a waygate in the jungle a very long time ago. Now, I can tell you that this particular shot was filmed the same day that a ton of White Cloaks were on set, because there's a bunch of pictures of White Cloaks in front of this thing, and they have to be in some way, shape, or form related, because the White Cloaks wouldn't be on set with the waygate unless they're filming together. So really cool waygate, kind of overgrown by the jungle. Might be in Tyr, might be just outside Falme. No idea how they're going to do, how the geography is going to work out, how they're going to look. But I'm pretty sure we're only going to see a couple of different cities in the second season. I'm almost sure we'll see Falme, because we know we have the Battle of Falme. I am almost sure we'll see Tar Valon again, because we have some shots later on in the teaser of Tar Valon with Egwene and Matt. But that leaves the other cities. Cairhien? Yeah, I'm going to say so. Lord Barthanes was cast, so I'm going to say probably Cairhien and maybe Tyr. But I think that might be it for notable locations other than maybe the Waste in the second season. Then we have these shots here. So this is the first one I want to show you. We have the tents and the banners. Now, when I talked about it in earlier videos, this was the flag that I was trying to describe. Now, this is a better look at the flag than I had, or the banner that I had. But it kind of looked like a tree at first, and it kind of looked like a hawk with maybe lightning bolts in its talons. No real idea, but in the teaser videos I've seen and in the leaked videos, the Seanchan are usually associated with this, so I'm going to say it's probably most likely a Seanchan banner. That's my guess anyway. Then you have this shot here. I believe the person in the middle is High Lord Turok. The rest of them are all Seanchan guards. Really cool looking. Really neat. I can't wait to see the Seanchan on screen. They look absolutely badass from the glimpses I've seen from leaked videos, and I can't wait to see them actually up close in all their glory. All right, so then we have a couple of shots here. So we have what appears to be sort of like a shanty town on fire here. My guess is this might be the Foregate if we're talking Cairhien, if they go to Cairhien. And then you have Rand, and if you notice the structures in the background, they look sort of the same as these structures here, so I'm guessing that he's walking through the same area, but Rand's dressed much nicer than he is in the rest of the teaser and in the first season. So he has a well-cut cloak, he has nice buckles, he has what appears to be a fine shirt. He's definitely cut his hair, shaved his hair down, almost bald, maybe to hide the red in his hair, to hide his heritage. It's possible. But what's interesting about this particular image is I'm pretty sure it's going to happen in Cairhien. I'm pretty sure it's probably on the way to Lord Barthane's manor because he's dressed up a bit here. But there are some other people in this picture. So you have off the left a mystery person. You can see the shadow here in this particular image. That appears to be female, appears to have some sort of shoulder guards. And then you have someone directly behind Rand with the torch. And so we go here, you see the face, and then to the right of that person, you see someone else just over Rand's right shoulder. I believe the person, or Rand's left shoulder rather, so the person over Rand's right shoulder, I believe is Lan. I'm almost 100% of it. I've seen enhanced images of this where they brought it up and it looks just like Lan. The height for the person on Rand's left shoulder above that is perfect for Moiraine. If we've seen them together on the first season, it's any indication. Thank the Dusty Wheel for that. He had a whole thread on Twitter dedicated to this one particular image. We talked about those two people are almost assuredly Lan Moiraine. But what I haven't seen many other people talk about is this person off to Rand's right. Looks female to me. Looks like they're wearing a dress of some sort. My guess is, if this is Cairhien, this is probably after Moiraine and Lan visit Varen Sedai, and this particular person might be Varen, because we know that Varen happens to be in Cairhien with Rand in the books, and she does attend the party. So my guess is it's quite possible that these people here are Varen. We may see the warder in the background somewhere, Lan and Moiraine, and they're all going to Lord Barthane's manor. That's my guess in these images here. Let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. Am I out to lunch? Am I close? Let's hear what you say. All right, so then we have this image here. It shows Min. Now, we know Min is going to be in the second season. Now, what does Min do in the Great Hunt? Well, Min in the Great Hunt gets captured along with Egwene near the end of the end of the book series when they get to Toman Head and Falme, and basically Egwene begs for Min's life because they were going to execute her, and because they don't really need her in any way, shape, or form, and it says that she'll be good if she's treated well, and she sort of bought Min's health and welfare with her obedience. Now, I've seen a few images of this where it's Min, and this is an enhanced image where you brighten it up a bit, and the side, at least one side of her head is shaved. So it could be that in the show, they're not just doing Min has her own little room and she's being kept healthy to keep Egwene aligned so Egwene will become a better Dame. I think maybe at this point, they know a little bit about Min's powers, or a little bit about the way she can see, the future and her foretellings and whatnot, and that she's going to be named a Doomseer way earlier in the series. Now, you remember later on in the series, much later, Daughter of the Nine Moons names her as Doomseer because she knows what she can do, and the Seanchan throne, the Crystal Throne, has not had a Doomseer for ages. We're talking hundreds of years. And she really prized Min and really liked the fact that she could see these things, see these omens, and believed everything she said. So my guess is, with this particular type of haircut, maybe that's found out during the second season, and she isn't just kept there to keep Egwene healthy and happy, which, I mean, to be fair, in the books it sort of worked, but on screen it's going to look pretty cheap if it's like, I'll do what you say if you leave her happy, so to speak, because the Seanchan aren't going to care. But if they know what Min can do, they may make Min of the blood, or maybe a Sojin, or something with that particular type of haircut because of her abilities. And let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. All right, so then we have this particular shot here. This harkens back to the other shots we've seen. I believe this is the Foregate. This is Rand walking through the Foregate. Again, shaved head, probably trying to hide his heritage, but his cloak and what he's wearing is not that great. I think this is him entering Cairhien for the first time. He hasn't met up with Moiraine yet. He hasn't met up with Varen, or maybe Tom. I don't know if Tom's going to be there or not, but for sure, he's by himself, at the very least at this point. And he's not really well dressed. So I think he meets up with them, and then they dress him well to go to Lord Barthane's manor later on. Again, same shot. So you have here Rand walking through the foregate. I believe this is probably also the foregate. And there's something happening here. So this is either the Trolloc attack or perhaps the Illuminator chapter house exploding, other things that happened during, the Great Hunt. I believe they're going to try to work them in a little bit into the show at the very least. And I think that's what we're seeing here. All right, so now we get a shot of Padan Fain, and I can't be 100% on this because we can't really tell where he's at due to the architecture and what's going on here. But I'd like to think this is him on his way to the Dark Friends Social, because Rafe Judkins has said that we will 100% see the Dark Friends Social in the second season, which I'm pretty excited about, whether it be from Boar's point of view or maybe Padan Fain's. I'm not 100%, but I think at the very least we're going to see some of the major characters there because they wouldn't have it from someone else's point of view. But I'd like to think that's where this is from. If you can place this particular set or this particular, architecture in the background as somewhere else, please let me know in the comments down below. But I think this might be the Dark Friends Social. All right, so then we have these shots here. We have this hooded, cloaked figure kind of walking around, and then we have the same, what appears to be the same figure, spooking a horse with someone falling off the horse. Now, if you take a look at this figure here and the figure there, what they have, the way they look, almost looks exactly the same as the Fades in the show. So I'm going to guess this is probably a Fade. This is probably one of the Shadowspawn. This horse looks an awful lot like Moiraine's horse. Same saddle, same coloring, same mane. So I'm going to say this is probably Eldieb, and that's probably Moiraine being thrown from the horse there when the Fade kind of jumps out of hiding. This area, the wooded area, looks a little bit like the area that Lan was training in, so I'm thinking maybe this could be part of the dark, the Shadowspawn attack on that. They were Drehekar in the books. Maybe it's something a little bit different here. Maybe it's a Fade, maybe some Trollocs, because we haven't seen Drehekar yet. Although maybe that's a Drehekar, I don't know. Maybe they're going to be more man-like. I have no idea. But pretty sure that's a Fade. Almost sure that's Moiraine getting thrown from the horse. That is Eldieb, and that's probably her on the horse. It looks to be the same costume Moiraine has, the same hairstyle, and the same horse kind of fleeing off into the woods. Now, let me know in the comments down below what you folks think about that. I did read a thread on Twitter from the Dusty Wheel that sort of said the same things that I just talked about there, that he believes that that's a Fade and Moiraine's horse, and he basically showcased bits of the costumes and things like that. When I saw it, that's the first thing I thought of was Moiraine and her horse. Look at this. This is a giant friggin' mystery to me. It looks like an observatory. It's definitely a set they've built up here. It's overlooking some lakes. What could it be? Maybe, just maybe, a flashback to Malkir. It's possible. I have no idea. This one really has me stumped. I'm not entirely sure what this could be. I don't believe it has anything to do with Kyrian because of the geography around it. Although that stone and the way the particular observatory tower looks, it does have the look of Falme. So this could be possibly a part of a Falme set that they filmed off location somewhere else. I have no idea. Let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. All right, so this is our first confirmation, other than Rafe's interview 12 hours after episode 8 dropped, that Loyal lives. So off the left-hand side there, you see Loyal. He's standing in a doorway, and this appears to be the Battle of Falme, so at the very least we know we're going to see Loyal at Falme. Hamid was there. He was portraying Loyal, and you can see White Cloaks fighting, Seanchan soldiers fighting, because those soldiers that are wearing the red, so you can see the sort of like the red cloaks or trousers underneath, those are Seanchan soldiers. They match up quite well with leaked videos of Seanchan soldiers and images we have. So definitely White Cloaks and Seanchan fighting. Pretty sure this is Falme because I had it's up on my Patreon actually, a video of the set of Falme where a local actually walked it. They walked through the whole set. They were loud. And this particular archway, they actually walked through it, and there was a cat there kind of running around when they walked through it. So this is definitely the Falme set, 100%. This is probably Battle of Falme. We know Loyal's there, which is pretty neat. We have this shot of Egwene, hair unbraided, which is important because in the books, she was quite eager to get her hair braided until she joined the White Tower, and then she realized that not all women braid their hair. It's not a thing for everyone, and she kind of unbraided it, whether it be in an act of rebellion or just change. She did that. This might be a moment in the series where we see that. This is definitely a White Tower set. The white stone kind of confirms that, and we know that we're going to see Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine in the tower together. So I believe this is probably part of her classes or training or walking in the tower. I do hope they expand on it a little more and we see a little bit more of the White Tower in the second season. We have this. This also appears to be the White Tower. You have these columns, the white stonework. It all looks kind of like the White Tower sets. And it's our very first look at Donald Finn, who's playing Matt Cawthon. We also have two other people here, I believe to be warders. One of them looks an awful lot like Jay Duffy, which I've theorized to play Gowan Trakand. So it's quite possible we're seeing Gowan, someone else, and Matt in this particular shot, and they're training with quarterstaffs, which kind of goes along with what I said on Twitter. So I kind of joked a little bit with Rafe during his AMA on Twitter that I hope that Matt doesn't win, that Gowan actually wins when he fights him in the particular, well, the very famous scene actually from the book series where Gowan just absolutely thumps Matt absolutely thumps Glad and Gowan in the Warder training yards and earns a little bit of silver from a wager he had. And I kind of joked that I hope Gowan wins for sure, because as you folks know, Gowan's my favorite character. And Rafe came back, and his reply to me actually gave us a little bit of information. He said that they're going to try to make it as believable as possible. So what we see here is we see Matt training with a quarterstaff. So I'm thinking that perhaps he does some warder training in the tower, and that makes him a little bit more of a deadly fighter than we've seen in the first season, which he just kind of complained a lot and wandered around. So my guess is he probably trains the warders a fair bit, and then this could be our first look at Gowan as well, which is pretty exciting for me. Then we have this. This is probably my favorite shot of the entire teaser. I don't know what else to say other than that. With a fade nailed to the door. Now, I've had this particular image of the fade nailed to the door for quite some time. It's amazing. I don't know what to say other than that. It's absolutely cool. Pretty iconic. It's a barn door in the book series, but here it's pretty neat. I believe the person holding the sword up to the fade there is probably Lord Ingtar. We can see Uno here. We can see Maesma. We see Perrin off to the left there. And the person to the far left with the little bit of silver in their hair, I believe that to be Elias. I'm almost 100% sure that's Elias. We know that Gary Beadle is playing Elias, and it sort of fits his physique, and I think that that's probably him. And I'm almost sure that he's taking the role of Huron during the second season, so we're not going to see Huron, but we'll have Elias as a wolf brother rather than a sniffer, which sort of makes sense rather than introducing a bunch of stuff, because sniffers aren't really integral to the story, other than in the Great Hunt, really, and wolf brothers and sisters are. So I'm thinking maybe we'll get Elias in that role instead. Really, really cool shot, though. I really like it. Another shot here of the Shanaarans sort of walking, and this appears to be, if you take a look at the right there, you can sort of see, it looks like a big town they're coming up to, and I think this is the fortress of the town. So I think this particular shot is them leading up to seeing the fade kind of nailed to the door there, which is really neat. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get some of those really iconic scenes from the books, but either way, I can't wait to see this particular one play out on screen. We have a shot of Rand looking pensive. This one, he's still not in exceedingly fine clothes just yet, but he's in something a little bit better than he's wandering around the foregate with. His head is still shaved, so he hasn't grown out his locks just yet. But I believe this shot here is probably in Cairhien as well, before they go to Barthane's Manor. I'm going to say it's probably in the inn when he's talking with Varen and Moiraine. Again, spitballing here, I really don't know, but I would guess that this shot is there. This has the feel of an inn to me. Maybe he's deciding invitations. Who knows? All right, so then we have this. I poured over the Wheel of Time map a lot, and what I can get from this is, I believe this is probably Falme. The boats and the red circles are probably the Seanchan, and then you have the catapults and the cavalry and the infantry in the background are probably the White Cloaks. And I believe this is probably a White Cloak battle plan being laid out, because in the background you either have people in white robes, or white long cloaks, or there's the same white tents they used when they're in the field. So my guess is this is most likely the White Cloaks planning out the battle for Falme before they actually attack the city to try to take it back from the Seanchan. Let me know what you folks think of that in the comments down below. And we have some really great shots here. So this appears to be parts of the Battle of Falme as well, but it's at night. It's foggy. You can see the fog kind of rolling in there. And then you have this. You have an absolutely massive hulking figure in the middle, dragging two people. So there's a couple things I want to take away from this. I believe this is probably the huge Battle of Falme that they're going to culminate the second season in. I think this is probably where the horn has already been blown, because I mean, look at all that fog, that mist. The horn's blown. Here's the horn come out of the mist. It's a big battle. You can see both white cloaks in this battle as well as Seanchan soldiers, and that hulking figure in the middle there looks an awful lot like a gardener. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe we'll see some of the Death Watch guards in battle too, and I can't wait to see something like that. It's going to be absolutely horrifying to behold. It'll probably be one of my favorite parts of the season if we actually get to see the gardeners fight in a battle. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. Is this Falme? The horn been blown here? What do you think? Now we're going to end on this. This particular image is just cool as hell. I don't know what to say other than that. All right, thanks to Geeky Ari from WatchSeries.com. We know this particular actress is Karima McAdams, who's been theorized to play a ton of different characters, everyone from Suroth to Lanfear. But this is really cool. This particular costume just screams Seanchan to me, but it may not be Seanchan. Maybe it's one of the Forsaken. Maybe Lanfear will wear something like this in the show. I have no idea. Rafe Judkins has said that we will spend some time with Forsaken in the second season, especially ones that are going to stick around for a bit. Going to build them a little bit more than the books did this early. So it's entirely possible this is Lanfear, or it's entirely possible that Lanfear's hiding within the Seanchan as well. A little bit of a twist from the books. There was a Forsaken hiding there, but it wasn't Lanfear. But really neat nonetheless. A really, really iconic looking costume. Now, I do apologize. Someone on Twitter, and I can't remember who it was, so if you're watching this video and you made this theory on Twitter, because I remember I read it on Twitter a couple of days ago, that this particular mask really fits with the Seanchan because blood and other members of the Seanchan nobility aren't supposed to meet the eyes of people lower than them or higher than them. So if this is Suroth, very few people are lower than Suroth, so she's not going to meet their eyes at all. And this mask makes it incredibly difficult to tell where someone is looking. So it's a very Seanchan-ish type thing to do to showcase the fact that they can still see everything, still be aware of their surroundings, but they can't be caught looking at people. So again, I really like the theory. It's not mine. I read it on Twitter a couple of days ago. If it's yours, please let me know. I really, really like it. I think it's a great idea. But I do think that this is probably Seanchan nobility right here. Definitely Karima McAdams. Really, really cool nonetheless. All right, so that's all I got for you for the breakdown for the teaser. Again, really neat. I'll probably do another video on this in a couple of weeks once all of the verdicts are in and what everyone thinks everything is, and I'll kind of hash out the most popular theories that the fandom has for it. So thank you very much for sticking with me here to the very end, and here's to many more.